Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us at the press briefing today. Our speaker today is Ms. Francesca Albanese. She is the Special Rapporteur on the situation of human rights in the Palestinian territories occupied since 1967. The Special Rapporteur just presented her report to the 59th session of the Human Rights Council, titled From Economy of Occupation to Economy of Genocide. We will begin with brief opening statements from the Special Rapporteur, and she will then take questions. Over to you, Ms. Albanese.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde, and those who are here and those who are following this press conference from afar. And I'm sure you have heard or read through my report, my last report, that reveals how corporate profiteering and monetary gain has enabled and legitimized Israel's illegal presence and action in the little that remains of historical Palestine, the occupied Palestinian territory. What I'm going to tell you paints a very grim picture. In many respects, I could have written this report 2 years ago, and it would have been a fair exposure of the economy of the occupation, made of two pillars: a pillar of displacement, a pillar of replacement, held together by an ecosystem of enablers, from financial actors to institutional knowledge production actors like universities and even charities. So the system is such that today I say Palestine is a crime scene. And actually, if it were a crime scene, it would have the fingerprints of all of us through what we purchase, which company we choose to insure as an insurer for our car or our home, and the banks where we put our money, the investments we make, and so on and so forth. And even universities where we go, where we teach, of which we are alumni, including those who silence debate around Palestine, claiming that there is not enough balance when denouncing genocide. And by the way, both me and Agnes Calamar, for what concerned the appalling decision of the University of Bern not to host a debate, I mean, we were open to the university to invite any pro-genocide scholar they could find. It's their decision just to silence the debate. However, if the genocide has not stopped, it's not just because there has always been an economy of the occupation. It's because the economy of the occupation has turned into an economy of genocide. And so there have been people and organizations that have profited from the violence, the killing, the maiming, the destruction in Gaza and in other parts of the occupied Palestinian territory, because it's not that the Palestinians in the West Bank and East Jerusalem are having the happiest time of their life as we speak. In the past 20 months, while the Israeli army, and accompanied by settlers, was devastating Palestinian lives and landscapes, the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange soared by 213%, amassing over 220 billion in market gains, including 76.8 billion US dollars in the past month alone. So clearly, for some, genocide is profitable. So what has happened is that the infrastructure that was profiting from the economy of the occupation has transformed and assisted Israel in this evolution. The report I just presented builds on a database of over 1,000 entities that I didn't have the time to investigate with the depth and to analyze from a legal point of view with the rigor that I have for 48 companies, along with their parents, subsidiaries, franchisees, licensees, and consortium partners across the sectors. However, if you read this report as a list, as another database, which this doesn't, my report doesn't intend it to be, I would have failed. I would fail. My report exposes a system, something that is so structural and so widespread and so systemic that there is no possibility to fix it and redress it. It is to be dismantled. And you know, had businesses and had the corporate sector observed due diligence, had it honored its commitment to do due diligence, even before October 7, 2023, he would have disengaged completely and totally from its entanglement with the Israeli economy. Because, first of all, it's a fiction that there is a line dividing, separating the good Israel within Israel and the bad Israel in the occupied territory. No, the economy is one. Israel's economy is one and one only, and encapsulates the colonies. The colonies do not exist because some fringy part of the Israeli society is pioneering into the wild, wild West Bank. No. It's because this is resolving the housing crisis in Israel. These people live and thrive within a system that is so connected, that is part of the Israeli state. And also, this is you can see that evidently when you look at the water grid, on the electricity grid, the occupied Palestinian territory does not exist as separate from Israel. So, I mean, member states can continue to reassure themselves that they might, à la limite, prevent settlement goods from circulating in their markets. But this is not enough. Actually, it's just it will be another face-saving solution. Because, excuse me, when sanctions were imposed on apartheid South Africa, was it because of the crimes and the violence and the racism and the discrimination and the apartheid that South Africa was imposing on its non-white population, or for just what South Africa was doing in the Bantustan? Do you understand the performance of stupidity that we have all been part of for decades? And now it's the time to stop. If 60,000 people killed do not push us to taking seriously international obligations, then we're really, really beyond the pale. So here's what I conclude. There is no possibility to stepping out of this situation other than for member states to do what the International Court of Justice demands through its ruling and through its provisional measures. Imposing an arms embargo immediately is not about asking for a ceasefire. This is not a war. This is a genocidal campaign. And it's clear, and now it's either carried out under the pretense of humanitarian food distribution. This is a death trap. And we should learn really to be honest, including yourself. I mean, I've been really, really generous to the media because the first corporate entity to be investigated in this mandate was yours. And it will come. But again, now it's time for an arms embargo, and it's time for businesses to cut ties with Israel. The very fact of engaging in something that concerns and translates into economic gain and profits, it's problematic, lest the companies and their executives are ready to face responsibility and even criminal liability. Thank you.
Thank you, Special Rapporteur. She will now take questions. We'll start in the room. Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you. The 48 companies that you name in your report, is there anything that you think the customers of those companies ought to be doing? Thank you.
Sorry, I should have said before. We're going to take about 4 questions at a time, and the Special Rapporteur will get to each one sequentially. Jeremy, please.
Orlando wants to.
Understand. Just a second.
But this is on, no? Okay. No problem.
Would you like to repeat your question?
No, I'm sorry. I was distracted. I'm sorry. I was distracted because apparently I misquoted a number. I have someone I have noticed. I have dyslexia with numbers, and I said 76 billion. This is what has been unmasked in 1 month. No, it's 67 billions. I read the other way around. I apologize. So what should consumers of these companies do? First of all, I would like to clarify that the first responsibility is not on the consumers. I mean, of course, I think that we should wake up and realize that we are part of a system where we are all entangled, and choices that we make in the UK or in Switzerland have an impact elsewhere, in Congo and in Palestine, for example. So it's good to be conscientious, but the first, and so it's important today to listen to those in the civil society, the scholars, the lawyers, investigative journalists who have exposed the entanglement of the companies we are clients of with the occupation. But the first responsibility remains with member states and then companies. So companies who do not divest should be held accountable. I do think that there is a possibility for consumers to hold these companies accountable, because we vote through our wallet, right? And therefore, probably this year, it's the most modest contribution not to support the erasure of Palestine is stopping normalizing the occupation by a click. So let's choose other ways to plan our holidays that Booking.com and Airbnb, because they have normalized the occupation with a click. They continue, even at this time, to advertise nice neighborhoods in settlements. Settlements are stolen land, and profiteering from the gains made in this way might amount to money laundering in certain jurisdictions. So we have to choose better. But again, main responsibility, states and companies.
Jeremy, I think. Please state your name and organization when you ask a question.
Jérémy Lange pour Radio France et RFI. Madame Albanese, deux questions. Une sur l'économie, la transition d'une économie d'occupation vers l'économie de génocide. Est-ce que vous pouvez expliquer en quoi une économie de génocide, selon vos termes, est plus profitable économiquement qu'une économie d'occupation simple? Je mets des guillemets. Et la deuxième question, c'est sur les compagnies que vous citez. Lockheed Martin paraît un exemple assez évident pour beaucoup de personnes. En quoi les autres compagnies que vous citez sont tout aussi coupables? Je pense à des compagnies comme Hyundai, Volvo, Caterpillar. Est-ce que vous pouvez expliquer en quoi ces compagnies sont tout aussi coupables de participer à cette économie de génocide selon vos termes?
Je peux vous répondre tout en admettant que cette enquête que je menais m'a tellement choquée que je pense, voilà, là aussi, ce que vous percevez, la rage et l'horreur que j'ai, c'est parce que vraiment pour moi c'était tout à fait nouveau. Bon, il y a aussi des économistes qui disent seulement des juristes peuvent être étonnés par la réalité parce qu'on le savait. De toutes les façons, maintenant, c'est important que tout le monde prenne conscience de cette réalité. Et là, je ne sais pas si numériquement c'est plus profitable, mais je peux vous dire, c'est-à-dire dans le long terme. Je ne dispose pas des instruments analytiques pour assurer ça. Mais si je vous dis que pendant ces mathématiques basiques, même les gens qui sont dyslexiques avec les chiffres peuvent le comprendre. S'il y a eu une augmentation de 220 milliards dans 20 mois et 70 milliards dans le dernier mois, qui coïncide avec la course au réarmement pour plusieurs pays, vous voyez où est la plupart des profits. ce sont avec les compagnies de surveillance et les compagnies de production d'armes. Et c'est choquant, mais il y a une ligne, on peut tracer une ligne droite et directe entre ce qu'Israël a fait dans les derniers 20 mois à Gaza, en réadaptant les armements qui ont été fournis surtout par l'Occident, comment ils ont été customized pour créer le dégât qu'ils ont créé à Gaza. Et maintenant, ils sont en train de les vendre.